This conference will now be recorded.
Let's call to order the Monterey Select Board for June 16th meeting of the board. All three members of the board are present here in Town Hall, and it's 6:02 p.m.
You're feeling better.
And our first order of business is the Lombardo Park Committee. So it's been the better part of a year since we formed the committee, right?
Yes, but by the time the committee actually got going, it was December.
So it's been about half a year since the committee's been going, so.
And we've had 5 meetings, and we have some other members of the committee here in person. Designee and Mr. D. Virgilio.
Thank you for joining.
And Stephen Zweig's on the remote, just to make sure I don't put my foot in my mouth or say anything that's quite not correct. I can't say enough for the well-intentioned members of the committee. And we're taking our responsibility seriously to review, assess, and see what this park really needs to be in a position to be part of the parks department in the town. I've made many visits to the property with individuals. Valerie's been there, Bob has been there, Steve has been there, but beyond that, Ken made a visit with me. I got the director of the regional Board of Health to come with me. I got Alan from the Highway Department to come with me. So a lot of people have put some input into it. So it's not just the committee itself. We went to individuals who had some experience and skill level in the different types of obstacles that present themselves there. We also had a second meeting with the representatives from the engineering firm that the town contracted with early on to assess the property. I'll go over some, and Frank Abbott has been great, even after he resigned from the select board. He feels committed to the project and is tied up in Florida with some family business tonight, and regrets not being able to be present here. I can go down the list of some of the red flags that the engineering firm pointed out, and some of the additional issues that we have identified. And I think that's occupied a lot of our time, both at meetings, which we've had 5 of since December, and as I said before, the on-site visits. Jim Willis, the representative from Tryon Health, came and volunteered to come and take a look at the septic and the water issues. There are more than a dozen concrete or resin caps of old septic systems. Some of them project 2-3 feet above the ground. Some of them are flush with the ground, the resin ones. But they're all hazardous, or all potentially hazardous areas that people, and I don't want to point fingers, but youngsters might want to investigate. And there's a proper way of dealing with those. I'm not going to go into that. I think I passed on some information to the select board about what Jen recommends. In addition to that, the previous, not the Lombardos, but I think the previous conglomerate that owned the property also provided water to surrounding homes. So there's an intricate network of piping and at least 3 wells, plus a couple of well chambers that go down more than 12 feet, because you need a ladder to get down into them. And they had housed some old pumps, some water tanks and electrical components, breaker boxes and things like that. And they need to be cleaned out appropriately and then filled so they're not a potential hazard.
Are they not still supplying water to those other buildings?
Well, when the Lombardo family, this is my gist on it, when they took ownership of the property, they said, hey, look, you're using our water, there's gonna be a fee. But, so that motivated these property owners to go out and dig their own wells.
It's my understanding that there were deeded water rates, but they were seasonal.
But with a cost associated.
Under the previous owner, they had been left on 12 months a year. And the Lombardos enforced the seasonality.
And Crystal,
Deeded rates.
Crystal, phone.
Caller 01, I think we may have to mute because there's a lot of background noise. That was my general understanding.
Is your understanding that they're no longer in service or that they are in service season?
My understanding is they are not in service. What do you think, Bob and Valerie?
Not to me.
But a deeded seasonal water right may still exist.
They exist, yeah.
Okay, and so some of these things, well, that's a whole discussion for a different day. But I do think that's a lot of the finer details of the property and important finer details at that. If we take a step back and look at the bigger picture,
I'm not done yet.
do we,
I have other items.
but do we have a sense of what the next steps forward in terms of engaging
Well, because of the
the
additional,
planning service?
because of the additional issues, namely the multiple concrete platforms that are there with a lot of unknowns regarding what exists underneath. There are electrical wires that are exposed. There are some pipes that indicate oil tank filling areas. They need to be broken up. And Alan said, this is beyond me. The representative from the engineering firm that the town contracted with said they could help out. They couldn't do any digging, so somebody else would have to be there to do the digging. But they do have opportunities with essentially ultrasound-like devices that can see or give an image of what's going on below the surface to see if anything needs to be taken care of. After you break up these concrete platforms and old foundations, the findings of what's underneath is a big question mark. Is it just clean soil? Hopefully. Is it some accumulation of building materials that are no longer considered acceptable? That's a possibility as well. There's electrical power that runs from Pixley or a 57 above ground to a pole that's in the middle of the property, and it feeds the homes on Prescott Lane, which is to the east of the first lot towards the Great Barrington side. And then that power line also feeds the property that our neighbor wants to develop. The power line is extremely low, so we'd have to get National Grid in there. And that's, that's just a matter of following up on a phone call. But beyond that, the power line that ends in the center of the Lombardo property, I think it's on lot number 2, goes underground and feeds the well vaults and the other houses, the multiple houses that were there.
On the property, not adjacent properties.
Well, the power for Prescott Lane homes comes from the pole that's in the center of Lombardo.
But then goes underground.
That's above ground.
Okay.
And it's low line.
But let me rephrase. The underground ones were
Go to the-
underground to buildings on the property.
It appears to
So
be the
we
case.
both can't be certain.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
In terms of wells themselves, there's probably 3 of them. They look to be deep wells, like artesian wells. And Jim said that shouldn't be a problem, you just cut the top off. Fill them with a gunite material, you cut them off below the ground and then you're okay. The last major issue has to do with the easement that the adjacent homeowner feels has a strong opinion, and she was present. This is Betsy Andrus. She was at a couple of our meetings, and we had some pretty frank discussions on what do you expect of the town. You know, what is the real validity of this easement? Our research there seemed to indicate that the easement goes back to the early 1900s, but it's continued as Woods Lane, is that what it is? Okay, there's a
Williams.
Williams Lane. And there's pavement, but I think the pavement that seems to be where the easement is construed to be now was more pavement that served to provide parking and access to the many homes that, or buildings that were part of Hebert's Cove. There's a runoff from Stevens Lake that goes along the eastern end of the property, lot number 3. In some areas goes right down the middle of the property line between what Lombardo is and what Betsy's is. And there's a bridge that crosses that stream. I'm not sure how valid that is in the eyes of the Conservation Commission or the Highway Department. It was put in primarily to help Betsy remove the demolition byproducts of an old house that she wants to replace. It is
The what was the
bridge.
the bridge, okay, I'm not misheard, go ahead.
I could have missed.
No, it's fine. I thought it was
I got a
the
little
stream
bit, but-
that was put in, I was like, but I'm with you now.
You know, the stream
bridge
is,
was put in.
the volume of water in the stream is seasonal.
Right.
You know, it's pretty.
It's probably nothing right now, but it could.
Well,
No, it's still running even in the drought.
Wow, if God comes from Stevens.
It's the outlet, it's the
That
outlet.
was
It's the outlet.
right.
I know property line in some areas goes right through the middle of the stream. So I think probably another more accurate surveying of this is needed. Well, anyway, bottom line with Ms. Andrus is that she feels that the easement that is there provides her with access to this other parcel of land that she wants to develop. And if the Lombardo Committee and the town of Monterey wants to move it closer to the property line, closer to the stream, it would be at the cost of Monterey paying for it. Otherwise, she's of the opinion that I'll just leave it where it is. So I think Frank Abbott contacted Donna Brewer, is she our town attorney? And she had, well, why don't you talk with Betsy a little bit and really see what her expectations are. But what I just said are what her expectations are. She expects a new driveway to be put in along the stream. So you got that issue. How close to that stream can you have it?
And isn't the septic system on that side too?
Some of it is, yeah. But we're not planning on
No.
keeping the septic. We wanna, we're not gonna have a bathhouse and toilets and things like that, unless the town wants to pay for that. So, you know, that's quite a project, to gain access from 57, which is a state road, and I think there's some restrictions on how many driveways you can have going out to a state road. And then crossing over this bridge.
Did
So,
you see what town council wrote about that, closing the easement?
yes,
Right.
and
So she basically advised that it would be at the expense of the abutter.
Yes.
Should she's the one that wants it.
None of us are here to make enemies.
No.
You know, if the select board wants to hold her to that position, I think the select board can, present that to her. We're looking for the most peaceful way of appeasing both the Lombardo committee and the property owner.
Can I just clarify?
Go ahead.
So she doesn't want it moved, she'll just use it as it is. She's saying that if you guys don't want me driving through the middle of the park, you'll need to move it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Valerie. So if you add all of this stuff together, we felt that as well-intentioned as we might be, we don't have the skill set to really manage these multiple items that need to be settled. And a lot of these items are connected to one another. So if you start to break up the concrete slabs that are there and you find some hazardous material, you need somebody who's familiar with how to handle that and what kind of permits and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera. So I think at the last meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, we really felt that at this point, we want you folks to understand the complexity of providing a clean slate for us to go ahead and design a park. That's the easy part.
So I think what you've identified is that the next step is engaging a professional planning service, right, or engineer.
Mhm.
So that's not, we were generally aware of that, I think, to begin with the process, because of, you've uncovered the complexity of some of these issues deeper than we understood.
We knew there were issues.
We knew there
but
were
this is-
issues.
Just makes it a lot clearer.
So would you like, I mean, I think it's within the scope of your committee to identify what kind of professional services would be best suited for this situation, or would you like the select board to handle that process?
We'll give it a crack. You know, we're not in a position where we're backing down from the challenge. I've already contacted Hatfield Construction out of, I think it's Hatfield, Mass, which is over near Chicopee or one of those towns that does this type of thing. They haven't gotten back to me because it was less than a couple of weeks ago.
Or because it's less than $2 million.
Do they do the construction part or the design engineering part, or both?
They do the cleanup.
Because what will likely happen, I'm not expecting to find any environmental hazards, truly. And I've spoken with people, I know there's not a great paper trail, but I've spoken with people that were involved with the demolition and overseeing the demolition, and I'm truly not expecting to find any environmental hazards. Can't rule that out 100%, but I wouldn't go into it expecting that. So the way that I see the process moving forward is we find either a site planner, a project manager, an engineer, some type of person in that field, and engage them from the outset. We will ultimately need to put the construction piece of it out to bid, because it'll be more than $10,000.
Yeah.
Whether it's 2 phases or 1 phase.
By construction, you mean the cleanup?
Yes, it could be cleanup, and then the next,
The next phase is,
it might make more sense. I mean, I think that's the importance of hiring a professional in the field. It may make more sense to do it all at once.
that.
We don't know.
That is our recommendation.
So that's where I think engaging a professional site planner, project manager is important here, because it's beyond my level of expertise. But certainly you'd imagine there's some margins to be gained if you bring a bunch of excavators and heavy equipment to do demolition and cleanup, and then you take them away, and then you bring them back to do finish grade or other projects. So, and I really don't know. It might just be a 2-phase project by its nature, but
Well, I think these companies, in order for them to minimize their liability, they're going to want to do a fairly extensive demolition of those concrete slabs and do some soil testing.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
There's a septic, our playground is on a septic system, and we know that, we put a new
I
playground
gotcha.
on the septic system.
I was there,
We were, right, you were intimately involved in that project, so
but you
I
can,
don't know what's common practice, Tom.
and that's why we need a professional firm to do that. And you've got to be aware that the price tag can be significant.
The
So,
good news, we have an open space plan, so we're eligible to apply for some pretty substantive grants.
We wanted to ask about that as well.
We want to do that, but I think we need to get a handle on potentially what the costs are.
Of course,
And because you're always asked in those applications,
you have to have a budget,
specifically
yeah.
what you're gonna do and how much it's gonna cost and time frame, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm guessing that, any of the firms that have done this for any municipality would probably know about those grants as well as what, like, so hopefully, maybe we could get one-stop shop, although I don't know. I know that BRPC, when we did the open space plan, BRPC, part of the reason for doing it was that it gives you access to it.
so when is the PARC grant due? It's in July?
July 9th.
July 9th. Are we hoping to apply for it within this cycle?
You can hope,
So,
but I don't think we'll have the details of what we would be writing the grant for.
I would write, if it were me at this point, knowing what I know, which is not a lot, I would aim to write it as a planning and design grant. And double our money
Right.
for planning and design.
As opposed to implementation.
Yeah, to get the
As
ball
opposed to
rolling.
construction,
Right.
because I think construction, we're a year or two at the least out from construction, right? We don't really have funds for construction, but we do have funds for planning and design. And we basically have 20,000 roughly for planning and design at this time, because we put $30,000 at town meeting, but 10 is going right to OKO or OTO for the environmental study.
And if we do contract with one of these more comprehensive firms, OTO won't be needed, but the money can go.
Oh, really?
right there. Yeah.
Just for environmental remediation.
Mhm.
I hear what you're saying, okay.
And it
I mean, I honestly, I read the OTO report and maybe I'm naive. I didn't see a lot of red flags that were really scary, and I talked to people that were involved at the time of the demolition, which was only 20 years ago. And people who are very good at their job and do a good job, and I felt like they probably didn't leave oil tanks underground and drill holes in them to seep out into the soil. Now, we don't know. I guess I'm not as scared of the environmental, and I want to do due diligence. But it would be awesome for everybody involved, right, if we could put more money towards planning and design, assuming that there's no further red flags as far as environmental is concerned.
Does there need to be an RFP for the planning and design part?
I don't know on the planning and design part, depends on how,
We probably should do one. I mean, part of the difficulty is we need someone to help guide us
Yeah.
in how we want to develop the park. But we could lay out some basic guidelines, like we want some meetings with the Lombardo Park Committee, maybe a meeting or two with the select board, maybe some public info hearings.
because that could be an RFP if it's less than 50,000 but over 10. So you can get 3 quotes on something like that.
And if it's engineering, I believe it's.
Engineering might be exempted in that
In any
situation.
case, but it would be good to get some bids. And I guess, Tom, where I'm confused maybe confused is the wrong word, but where I'm uncertain is what type of firm do we engage? Is it like a GZA?
Well, it's like
Or
a-
is it like a architect?
It's a general contractor who comes in and cleans up a property for further development. And that's what this,
I guess I'm on a different, I'm seeing it a little bit different from you because I was picturing hiring more of a project property. We talked on the phone one time and we talked about, what was it, a property developer or manager? When they built the library, I think they used EDM as the project manager.
Oh,
No.
E3.
E3,
P,
P3.
professional rewards.
I don't know what the appropriate entity is. It's not something that comes up every day, the situation that we're in. But I
isn't
would,
that essentially what?
Well, let's say, like, so I think both of you are really on saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're calling a general contractor because a general contractor would probably cover a broader spectrum of things. They might have the planning team already available within their organization, but a project manager is really where the committee is at. We need someone to tell us, like, we have no idea what to request for you for funds. We're just kind of throwing ideas around and some of them are, we're not clear on what the answers are as far as, let's hope that there isn't any oil or any of, any kind of environmental issues, because then it opens the door for a lot smoother of a process.
I think also where it'd be nice to have an independent planner from contractor is a contractor could, in theory, be motivated to want to do more work that will make more money for their company.
Correct.
Whereas a planner could advise the town on what our options are and be cost conscious.
But the way the agreement was written, we're very limited on what we can actually have on the property. Like you can't even have like a playing field or
Yes,
anything or any structures, so basically it's just gonna be a park that's just a grassland, so we really just need someone who's gonna clean it all up.
In a way, yes, I totally agree with you, but one thing that happened when we opened up the community center was the building itself hasn't had too many issues. I mean, there's been things here or there, which was mostly, or done with a lot of volunteer labor even. The site has had some issues because of lack of proper planning. So the driveway was kind of thrown in haphazardly, so to speak. The lighting was incredibly insufficient. And those are things I assume a site planner, developer would have identified. Because despite there being not a lot of infrastructure, the small amount that there will be, like a parking lot, if a general contractor throws down some gravel and says you're good to go, it could cause problems
Okay,
down the road. Do you see what
yeah,
I'm trying to learn from that experience a little bit,
sure.
and what little there will be on the property, try to get it right.
But there's nothing, there's really nothing on the property, and when this is all said and done, it's basically gonna be a field, going down to the water. And so the real necessity is to get it cleaned up, to see what we got and what we're dealing with, because we don't know what we're gonna run into. So it strikes me that what the first step should be to get the thing cleaned up.
I also am I'm uncertain to what degree all the things that Jim Willett suggested, and I have please don't take this as a remark on his professional capacity as health inspector. I don't know what to degree those things are what he would do, or what are they legal requirements for the property. And maybe it's worth me following up with him or the committee following up with him. But I don't see, okay, a buried septic system, why do we need to fill it in? We have a septic system out here that we have a playground on top of, that we put a new playground on top of. So maybe we do need to hire an excavator and do all this work, and maybe we don't. I certainly wouldn't wanna see a lot of money put towards
It's not necessary.
things that aren't necessary. I mean, our town beach property, we have electrical service, we have, even on this property, we have risers for the septic tanks or different sewers, right? Those, to what degree do we wanna leave those there because it's cost effective, and to what degree do we want to make them all disappear? I don't know. It's beyond me, but that's where I'm leery to just hire a general contractor to clean it all up. Because are they spending $30,000 worth of equipment, time and fill to pound the septic systems in and truck fill in, when in reality, a site planner may say we're good to just leave them there if all that's gonna be on it is foot traffic. I don't know. I truly don't know, but I do know a lot of people have septic systems in their yard and there's foot traffic on them, and it's fine. You don't drive your dump trucks on them, but
How about some individuals take the caps off of these concrete forms, okay? And then you're left with an open vault from an old septic system. Is that a liability the town is willing to accept? Even the newer septic areas that has like a resin cap that's maybe 36 inches in diameter. You can get some kids fooling with those and run into some difficulties. And I object that you're making an analogy between the septic that is under the playground. If there is a problem, it needs to be cleaned out, pumped out, or actually redone. What do we have here? We have some equipment that needs to be taken out and moved and take care of the new septic area. Here, we have remnants of old septic systems that have the potential for being hazardous. We're trying to do due diligence. We're not trying to, look for problems. But there are potentially a lot of problems. Ken, you were there, you saw it.
so, and I've been there and I've seen it and I've heard about it. And I believe that septic system may be newer than this one, because it was put in around 2005.
Part of it is.
So I don't know. I'm not expecting you to know, and I'm not expecting them to know, or maybe anyone in this room. If I had to pick one person in this room, it would probably be Mickey or Peter. Because they have construction
You're in
experience.
tough shape.
But all that said, I'm not trying to put anyone down or say, but I think it's worth a further study as to what is required, because if we go hire a contractor to fill, I don't know what the fill would cost to fill a septic system, and if it's only 20 years old and never been used, maybe that's the sturdiest thing on the property. I don't know, Tom, I don't know, and I don't know the most cost effective way to deal with the well covers. I don't want a little kid falling in. One difference I will admit between here and there is, that's unsupervised. This is town hall, it's a busy property, it's in the center of town, and we have cameras. So we're less likely to have kids fully playing around. We may have septic risers here, but this is more of a busy area. So I resonate with what you're saying about wanting to tidy up those loose ends. And then just the question is how to do it cost effectively and what precisely needs to be done. Because I looked at Jim's email and I thought, if that's what all that needs to be done, that's expensive.
Yeah.
And maybe it is what needs to be done, but that's expensive. And I just want, I guess, a second opinion. Is this truly, like if I had a tooth and.
Let's not go there.
Okay, I won't go with the teeth, but just a second opinion, really, so.
Because it isn't, it's clear to, from what you wrote, it sounded as though Jim was saying all those things had to be done. But having read all those same documents and having also visited the site, I wasn't there, obviously, when Jim was there, we had the opportunity at any time to ask him questions, but, I did not have I had the sense that there were some things there that clearly needed to go, right? There's a bunch of the concrete structures that are themselves clearly physically a hazard, right? But while we need to know what's under there, I'd like to, I agree that it would make sense to have a project manager who has done similar things, assess, okay, these ones you have to do, these ones are optional, here's the pro and the con of doing it, here's what the price, like, the likely cost of these various parts are, so that you can decide which ones you're gonna do. I kinda have the impression you think that we would have to do all of it.
No, I'm preparing you
Oh,
for
then
the
maybe, okay.
possibility of that.
Yeah, that's
And
definitely a possibility.
That's essentially what I said and what the committee ended up deciding after we identified these issues.
That-
We're not looking for problems.
Right.
The legal liability of the town saying, well, maybe it's okay to leave this septic system here, which we don't know what's down there. Because we're just saying, well, yeah, it's.
Well, one of them's brand spanking new, never been used, so we do know, because we have a plan and
Do you think
that.
someone's gonna sign off on that?
I don't know, Ken,
I mean, I can't believe that someone's gonna sign off.
but we have a
Sign off on
septic, we have a much older septic system right here that gets planned.
That's a different situation. There aren't any caps that are exposed there.
I don't know that there's not risers.
I can tell you there aren't, because I had a lot to do with the installation of that playground equipment.
Well, the question is how we decide what's there and what needs to be done.
Yes,
And is that finding we need to find a company to come in and do an analysis of the site.
I agree,
That's
I
simple.
agree.
that's where I'm
And
at.
it
And
should
to
be
tell us
engineering.
which projects are absolutely must be done and which ones are
Yeah, and it should be an
optional,
engineering.
and to
company,
price it out,
and-
yeah.
And that's gonna be costly.
It will be, and we have the money for it, but it might save us money in the long
long run,
run,
sure.
rather than going right to an excavating business, which, you
Well,
know,
the company he was talking about, they were planning to come in with some ground penetrating radar to see what's down there and figure out what's down there. You
What's
know,
their name?
that sounds like what we need.
Well, there are two, and I think you're getting bogged down in semantics here. Even though it's called Hatfield Construction Company, it's not that their ultimate goal is to construct a new park there. Their forte is to clean the site that you want to develop, either a home, a business park, or a town park.
So what we need is a description of the park right now, written up in terms of what we know was there. Send that out to whoever and find a couple of other companies, 3 in all.
at least, yeah.
And get some, and see if we can get some responses back.
I think we could start looking at proposals. Right,
So what's the mission of this company? Because I get different vibes from all three of you. I get,
Which
let's,
Come in,
I get,
come in,
let's
analyze the site.
dig, but not too far.
No,
Yeah.
analyze the site.
Yeah.
And give us a proposal for what needs to be done.
I agree with that.
Understanding what the future is. The future is a
Maybe-
field park.
Maybe I mumbled too much. Isn't that what I said
That's
we
what
wanted to
you
do?
started with.
We're not necessarily disagreeing.
I don't
It
want
takes us a while to
to
get around.
occupy more of your time.
No,
We're not disagreeing.
I'm not,
It's just a question of the approach to
Where
how
do
we
we get
take the
solar?
next step, I think is really what we're rating.
Okay.
And.
One thing I think we realized as a committee is we're at this point now where we do need the town to step in and say, okay, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, whether it be, we wanna get a site evaluation, but with what funds that we have, which isn't $20,000, can go pretty quick.
So what I'm saying anyways, is that we develop a mini RFP. An RFP is sent out to 3 or 4 engineering companies around, saying, we need help with this.
who develops the RFP?
I might already be done. I mean, there must be a description of the site and what's there and stuff, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I think
we have a
it
handle.
it needs to be phrased differently.
Yeah,
than
it just
what
needs
we
to be
have.
phrased for.
I do think we have the guts of what we
Yeah.
need to
Because
go
of
forward.
proposals.
Well, the first thing the firm that I did talk to and the representative that I did talk to, he just wanted to come out and take a look.
Yeah, well, that's what we're basically asking, but we need, in terms of monies and money's being spent on it, we need justification that we did due diligence in the first part in terms of finding 1 or 2 or 3, we're not being, taking one over the other. So it's just a matter of coming up with a couple of other firms.
Once you're over 10K, you need to have at least 3 bids. And I don't know if we need, we'd have to discuss for, like, do a little digging, because it's bid versus RFP, right?
It could be your RFP, it's just a request for proposal.
That's not the sealed bid is when they have to, so.
That would be if we
That's-
went to
that's more-
construction,
Right,
right?
right,
Like,
right.
That's
if
over
we
50,000.
spec'd out precisely what we needed for construction, then we would put it out to bid. And I don't, it's unclear to me exactly how all the chips will fall.
But that would fall right into what your guy, he would come out, they would get this in the mail, they would come out and take a look at the site, and then give us some sort of written proposal of what we need, and moving forward,
And depending on the firm, they may spec out,
and they do it.
they might write out the specs and then we put it out to bid,
Yeah.
right? Depending on the firm.
Like GZE did it that way, right?
For most firms, if they're gonna invest the time to put a proposal together, they're gonna expect more than just you using it to send it out to other companies.
Thank you.
We have a,
Yeah, Mickey Jervis.
so, when we were doing the library, we sent out an RFP. And I can look up, I should have it at home, and I should look to see what we said on that. And actually, the library director, I think you know him. He would probably have some good ideas as to, because he's still in contact with different people that worked on our project. And he might say, you might want to lean just to one or the other. I would talk with him too.
I think all we're
Okay.
saying is that it's important that we get this from more than one company, and just have
Obviously.
one.
Yeah, we interviewed several people for that, even project manager.
And it may be a little different than, because there probably isn't an architect involved in this,
Yeah.
phase.
The
So it might be a
architect,
little.
and we hired the architect after we had the project manager.
Gotcha.
But you mentioned the EPM, and they're doing, I think they're doing a lot of that more, they've expanded more to what they do.
Seems too complicated.
I know, right? Everything seems too complicated.
Yeah, but we started off ourselves with writing up the RFP.
What other way to go, Tom? I mean,
There isn't another way to go.
No, you have to,
That's why we came to
Yeah.
the select board,
Yeah.
to tell you where we're at.
yeah, okay,
After doing our due diligence, as far as we have the skills to do, we came back to tell you,
Yeah.
there's a lot of junk there. The Lombardo people didn't give you a clean slate.
right.
Steve, you have a good way of summarizing things. You want to contribute?
Yes, if I may. First, I'll say that for generations yet to come, accepting the park was a good idea. Okay? Even if they gave us a pig and a poke in some respect, the park is a great idea. I think it'll take some years to develop it. I think it'll probably wind up costing more than anyone realized. The problems we have, there is a right of way, and we can't say there isn't. But how we're going to approach that, the Lombardos also wrote into the deed that we can't give up any of the property that's the park's property and so on. So right now, Betsy has a right of way to go through the park. She also has asked for a privacy fence, the lower portion that she wants to develop near the lake. And that'll probably be discussed at some future meeting. I had 2 points that I wanted to add to Tom's presentation. One was I wanted to make sure that our property and casualty insurance covers the Lombardo Park. So at least we know that we have insurance coverage for that property now. I don't know that we do, and so I'd ask someone to double check that or to inform the insurance carrier that we need coverage on that piece of property too. The second is we have a very small sign sort of tucked away right now that says private property. I think we should think of a larger sign. There is a gate. The gate is unlocked, but anyone could come in and camp there or do whatever they wanted to do right now. So that's a more immediate issue.
Pause. when we acquired the property, it had a lock, and the town knew the code and a butter knew the code. What happened to the lock?
The lock is there, but not engaged.
All right, well, let's engage it, and she'll know the code, and we'll know the code.
Who mows the lawn there?
Scott Amston,
So Scott left them too.
and Scott will.
And,
But Scott's been mowing it since Lombardo's have owned it.
and,
Many years.
He's probably already knows it.
I don't think I don't want to point any fingers.
So I think though it's gotta be locked, I was not aware that it was unlocked and left unlocked. And the insurance company may also direct us to what signs they want posted, because they've done that in the past.
Okay,
So we'll touch base with them, make sure it's on the policy, if it's not, add it, and see if there's any signs that they want.
sounds good.
Anything else, Stephen?
No, I agree with Tom's report. I also agree with Justin and with Susan. You know, I think that whoever comes in and gives us an idea of what's needed should give us high priority, mid priority, low priority. And, you know, we start to build out what's actually going to be needed in the way of cleaning up this property.
Okay, I don't think we need to occupy any more time.
Well, thank you for your hard work.
Yeah.
I know it's not figuring out just where should we put a tree and a shrub and it's hard work, and I appreciate it. Right, so, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure where we're at.
Tom's gonna
You're gonna write up something?
seek proposals.
Well,
You're gonna see
I'm
proposals?
going to talk to the firm
Yeah.
that was recommended to me
Yeah.
and see what they can write up. Because I don't want to spend the rest of my life writing things up. Okay, I volunteer for a lot here, but that's not my idea
No, that's okay.
of spending my golden years. That's what I will do. And, you know, we have another meeting coming up, and 3 of my committee members have heard what you've said, and we'll discuss that further and see where we can go with it.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't raise your hand. Let your hand move down.
No, that's okay.
I think though it makes sense to start getting some proposals, because,
I meant 3 proposals.
yeah, we don't know.
It sounds like Tom's willing to ask for a proposal from one place,
Yeah.
but.
No, he knows we need several, and we will,
Was really clear. He literally just said, I will ask that one. That
but
is
you
what he
did,
said.
okay, you did also say we need 3, and he said, I know.
Yes, but he was
So-
only volunteering to do one, which means somebody else
Okay, so
has-
we've gotta do more.
Right.
So, and I also think there's a wide range of proposals that would be acceptable, and at some point, we will have to make a decision on
Yeah.
what route we want to go. But if we get proposals from an engineering firm, a construction firm, and then we like kind of the one that P3 or EDM does, we find similar
Mhm.
firms to do similar, to make similar proposals.
Yep.
But we're not gonna accept a non-competitive
No,
proposal.
no, I'm just thinking if someone's gonna have to write up something now in terms of tacking on with what Tom's writing.
But I don't think it's bad to talk in this instance with companies first and maybe get proposals first before writing something up more formally.
So who's doing that?
The committee or the select board or the town administrator, is that what you're asking?
Well, who? Yeah, who? Okay, and not a select board, but who? Oh, Susan volunteered.
I'm really curious to see what comes back, to be honest with you, the proposal
Okay,
from this, to see what route we want to go. Because I don't want,
so here's my thought. My thought is, okay, we wait on Tom, on him getting something back to us. We look at what he has. If what he has makes sense, we use that as the basis to send out to 3 or 4 other places.
And, I would be willing to reach out to BRPC, to the open space guy that we worked with. and
Oh, absolutely.
explain the problem and say, number one, like, is this something we could get open space money for? And number two, do you know what firms might be appropriate to
Oh, yeah.
approach for this type of
That's
proposal?
perfect, yeah, that's perfect. And they will.
And he's pretty responsive, if he's not on vacation, I'm sure he'll get back to me.
Okay, sounds good.
What we don't want, another thing, speaking of community center, is the lighting at the community center. Because what we did is,
I know what we did, we don't have to talk.
we don't have to go into it, but. Okay.
Fine.
Peter Mercat, thanks for joining us.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time, Peter, so can you reschedule?
I saw a couple of late breaking updates about the seasonal communities application.
I may be here prematurely. I had a meeting, I think it was just last Friday with Sherto from BRPC and Martin from our own group. And we're working this week to draft the green community application. One of the questions that was up in the air was whether we can count fire company energy use in our baseline 5-year project to reduce municipal energy use by 20%. And that was, as of last Friday, an unanswered question for the BRPC person that we're working with. But a lot of emails back and forth today, and Zach Jenkins, who's the Western Regional Coordinator, Green Communities Division, wrote to us that please be advised you can use the fire station in the ERP, the Energy Reduction Plan. We need some sort of affidavit from the town that they have the ability to fund projects at the facility. This will not be required for the June 30th application deadline, but we will want something in writing before we approve their ERP.
We
Simple
have
enough.
checks and invoices.
Pardon me?
We have invoices and checks to prove that we've
done it.
Oh, yeah.
that we've done projects, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not even a theoretical thing,
We've done it.
we've done it.
Okay,
So we can definitely, I don't know if we need town council to make up a formal affidavit, or they have one that we can sign, but.
Well, we don't need it right now, right?
Okay.
we need it, and we don't even need it by June 30th.
Mhm.
We'll be drafting the application this week. I'll come back a week from tonight and present it to the
I
select
don't
board.
think we're meeting, or we weren't planning on meeting a week from tonight. Could we meet the following Tuesday, the 30th? Or is that too late?
I think that's cutting it awfully close.
Okay. We can always have a meeting to just do this.
Fine with me. It's up
On
to
the
you.
23rd?
I just would not want to postpone it till the last
Yeah.
minute.
Is it due July 1st? That would be the last minute.
What does it do?
When did it due? When would you need it by?
If Tuesday is the 30th, let's say by Thursday before, or something like that.
So we'll meet next Tuesday. If all
Yeah.
are available.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain we'll have our application drafted by a week from tonight. Then you can look it over and change or approve as is.
Any other questions?
No.
How was the seasonal communities involved in that?
Did I put seasonal community designation?
No, you said seasonal.
You said something at the beginning, or somebody said.
Meant green community.
Alright.
What about a seasonal green community? Sometimes we're green, sometimes we're not.
No. Green, Ireland,
Sometimes we're white, because it's all, snowy.
So next Tuesday.
the Ireland community application.
And next Tuesday is to sign the application.
I hope so. Should have it by then.
Well,
When did you need the affidavit by, you said, like?
not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon.
He's saying, I mean, part of this was that there was a turnover in the Western Regional personnel.
Okay.
And he's saying that we don't need the affidavit by the 30th. we need the green community application approved by the select board. And then when it comes down to proposals for how to spend the designation grant, they need affidavit that select board is authorized to spend money on the firehouse. All good?
All good? Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
Do all your members, would they like to be reappointed?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thanks for reminding me. Yes, everybody responded positively, promptly.
Are you inclined to make this a more permanent committee and make it 3-year long appointments, staggered?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
I mean, we can always resign after year 2.5 or whatever.
When we first started 5 years ago, 4 years ago,
Don't ask.
Yeah.
we'll do 3 years then.
Okay,
If anyone's, we'll
Great.
put you on for 3 and assign randomly other people 2 and 1 year terms to stagger them, unless anyone knows that they're moving out of town in a year from now or something.
okay, sure, it's
Okay.
fine. Then we don't have to do our ethical.
We're trying to get away from the 1 year, it is a
Okay.
pain.
Yeah.
The 3 year makes a lot more sense in a lot of ways.
Nobody enjoys taking the ethics course every year.
Plus, like, the reality is, most projects of any substance take more than a year.
Most projects.
Projects of any substance take more than a year.
Yeah, apparently so.
When it's involving the government,
Yeah.
The government says plural.
okay, thank
Thanks
you,
again.
Peter.
Thank you. Carry on.
Moving right on to firefighter retention and training costs.
So,
I-
Roger, do you wanna,
Yeah, I read your, oh, go ahead.
Okay. Who's starting?
I don't know,
No, I was
I
gonna
think
say,
everyone saw the email from town council.
Right, but did you tell them about the stuff from the small
I got a couple things back from,
TAs?
I got a couple things back from the small town
Yeah.
people. It was, I sent it to like East Bridgewater. Their general rule, and all community, they feel that the general rule is that if you require an employee to go to training, no matter how extensive, like an academy, you pay them. East Bridgewater does not. Not surprised that there are communities that have set this up. East Bridgewater would not hire someone without an EMT certification, so they're a little different than us.
But do they send people to firefighter one too?
They do, and they would pay them to go there, yeah.
And I think I did mention that I spoke to the training coordinator for the fire academy, and all of the recruits for career firefighter are employed by a town or city.
right,
I also heard back from, who is this? This is, Stoneham. And they, I said, we are starting a full-time fire department. We'll probably be hiring firefighters that are not certified Massachusetts firefighter 1-2s. We send them to the academy, they will be paid and not in the firehouse, because that's the typical way it works. And they said, yes, at times it may start a week or 2 before and work in the firehouse before going to the academy. I asked if they had any policies about sending firefighters to EMT classes and having the firefighters sign an agreement of employment, where if they leave within a certain time period, they pay back a percentage. And she said in Stoneham, firefighters must be an EMT or obtain licenses within a year of hire. There's added incentive for higher salaries, but she didn't say that they had to pay it back if they left. And then I did ask some questions. I was just trying to get some parity between police and try to figure out how police worked. And most places do, these 2 places hire the police officer and send them to the academy and pay them to go to the academy. However, I did talk to I did hear something back from the town administrator in Beckett, who prior to her starting, they did hire someone who wasn't a police officer, sent them to the academy. They came back for 1 month and left, and the town was out $42,000.
So
There's really nothing you can do.
well, I think,
well, I guess you only hire police officers that are already certified.
You hope so, yeah.
for me anyways, what I was getting at, it wasn't the money part of it as much as it was, how do we figure this out, if there's a way of figuring this out? I think Susan, your paragraph is fine, I'm fine with that. That at least speaks to the fact that we were expecting him to stay for 2 years. That works.
No, I saw that too.
Yeah.
I liked it too. It sort of like tugs to their moral, like, we're helping you
Yeah,
move ahead. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it if you'd stay with you. It'd be
Absolutely.
great if you stayed.
because my fear is just what happened in Beckett. So, you know,
Yeah.
and that's
I mean,
like-
I think.
Well,
it's-
and in a large city, that's a blip, that's nothing.
Yeah.
so
But when you're a small town,
that's a big.
that's the 20th, the 40th of your payroll
Yeah,
on someone that is gone.
so
One thing I was wondering is with these other towns, like the town that they only hire EMTs or they want you to have it within a year, are they helping you get it within that year?
I know, that's a little unclear.
Or
Yeah.
are they like, you need to have it
Just
within a
curious
year?
if you follow up. I mean, I get there are the ambulance companies, you have to come in with the EMT, and I get that. Although, thinking about it, nationally, there's an EMT shortage,
Mhm.
right? So it's not gonna be long before places are basically waiving that or agreeing to like support someone while they're doing it, because there's not enough people.
Right.
Um,
It's an issue all over.
yeah,
Well, one thing that could happen is during hiring process, potentially, if it comes up, assume this is legal, can't imagine why not, it's not illegal discrimination. If someone has their licenses or certifications, they take precedence, right?
absolutely.
Definitely, yeah.
And you can also pay them differently.
Well, you can also say in the ad that, you know, requirement of
Yeah.
EMT and that precedent.
Well, and there's some understanding, like Susan said, there's a shortage, so there's some understanding that it's likely that
Not everybody.
non-certified people will be hired, but it's like when we hire for highway, we want someone with their CDL. If you don't have your CDL for like the highway, the equipment operator position, we pay you less than we advertised,
Right.
help you get your CDL, and then bring you up to the advertised rate.
But I think that's gonna be common. I think that's just gonna be part of the whole restructuring that we're going through in terms of how we attract people to jobs. So we're gonna be responsible at some level for some of the training, or not
The
at all.
police scares me,
Yeah.
that anecdote,
Because yeah,
that's terrible
yeah,
for a small town like
that's a
that.
biggie.
And it's gonna get, now with the loss of the part-time academy,
Mhm.
and this sort of negative attitude in the states about law enforcement, I think it's gonna be harder and harder to find cops. Fewer people are going to police academy.
We might wanna, if you run into our state representatives, advocate for bringing some form of the part-time academy back, maybe with similar requirements, but evening hours. Only because it's terrible.
Oh, yeah, it's really bad.
And if they do the same training spread out over a longer time, just in the evening, so they can keep their full-time job.
Yeah.
That seems like one way to help small towns maintain police forces.
I mean, as Brian has said, and he's talked to me about it, it's finding part-time officers is really, really hard. It's impossible. We found one person who is who's working for us right now, who's wanting to get back into full-time. They kind of left and were doing some private business of their own, and now they want to get back into policing. And so they're working for us part-time. Maybe something will come up in the future here in town or somewhere, but it's really hard to find people.
And it's hard to envision, given that the academy isn't there, I think the only police academy is actually out east, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know how you could do it as a part-time student, because
yeah,
you'd
because,
be,
yeah.
right, unless they ran things out here, but
I
that's,
think they used, I talked to Brian, they used to have
they
cameras
use it
Yeah, the cameras.
out here.
like in the Springfield area.
Right.
So to ensure parity amongst various employees, is there a consensus that the hours that you're at firefighter 1, 2, or EMT, you are working, and then your schedule is built around that?
I'm gonna assume there's not a lot of leftover, when Seamus went, he was there, it's 5 days a week, all day,
Mhm.
and they're
So
like,
that's your whole 40 hours for those
10
weeks,
weeks,
for
yeah.
10 weeks.
Yeah.
Then EMT, I just wanna make sure that we're consistent, so that if there's an EMT class, cause I know they're at various times, or at least they used to be,
Mhm.
that either we're paying people to go to EMT class or we're not, or we agree on a split. But if there's evening hours, are they doing taking a couple hours, coming in later in the morning. I just wanna make sure that we're being consistent.
Just it.
Yeah.
And I think that there's also, in talking to Sean about the EMT, how that training would work, I guess there's, it becomes even more complicated because there's more than one way that classes are taught. So there's the option to go, to like an intensive class that's like all you're doing is the class, and I don't remember how many weeks it is. And versus the kind of thing Sean just did that they frequently do at Southern Berkshire or at BCC, where it's like, X number of evenings and X number of weekends.
But I think we just need to make sure whatever it is, that we're either paying for you to go to your EMT and we work your schedule around that, so you're not working overtime, but you're getting paid for those hours, or we don't, you still get your 40 hours, but they're different 40 hours, but it's the same across the board.
Across the board.
And not employee A goes nights and weekends unpaid to get their EMT.
Right.
And employee B does the intensive weekday hours and is getting paid. It's just, we gotta pick one.
It should be the
So maybe,
same.
maybe you could talk to Sean about which one they prefer, what they wanna do and how they wanna handle it, but
Then let's get it in writing.
then you put it in writing.
I wanna advocate for being able to use both choices,
Yeah.
because I think that there are people, and I like, having taught, there are kids that thrive in intensive programs where they would rather have 8 hours a day of the same thing, and they just wanna gulp it all down. And there's other kids where if you do that, 90%'s going up. They want a smaller bite, they wanna process it, and they wanna come back to it.
Well, we have to do.
And I don't think it's fair to force everybody to do one thing. If both programs exist and there are
Both are
students who would prefer one, we just have to make sure we're
Equitable.
supporting them equitably
Yeah.
in terms of the hours that are involved and the pay that's involved.
That's fine.
I could see if you wanted to do the intensive, but we decide we're not paying for EMT training hours, then you do that and you work nights at the fire station. Or if we want to pay, and most of the people go for the Monday to Friday workday hours, that's your 40 hours. But if you wanna do the nights and weekends, we could work, they would have to schedule around it, but it's gotta be.
So if you can
Consistent.
tell Sean what we're thinking about and,
Yeah.
and ask him to give us a proposal back in terms of what works for him with the fire department.
I also think that, like, there is a difference between salary and, like, I think what we did with the CDL thing was reasonable, right? There's a difference between paying you your wage while you're attending, a training and paying for the training. And we can ask for that to be, and wasn't there one place that asked that, garnish their wages after they trained to pay them back for the training, which I don't think I would support.
There was a place.
Because they're clearly expecting, so they're like fronting the money for the CDL and then taking the money out of their paycheck for X period of time. But I do think it's reasonable to say that if the training is expensive, that it's reasonable to expect them to pay us back with their labor, right? And
But also with CDL, the cost of the course, the town paid up front. However, the time was split. So they would often leave early from work and stay clocked in.
Right,
But then it would continue on after work, and
Afterward,
that's unpaid training.
right.
So, pick one, think about it, have Sean think about it, whether it makes sense. I think if firefighter 1-2 is Monday to Friday during the day, that's just gotta be paid, period. If EMT, there's a nights and weekends options, and we feel like it's more fair to have that be, if you come in without your EMT, we'll support you in going to get it, but that's not paid time. Like, just pick one and stick with it and make it consistent, that's all. It would not be good to see, different things happening to different employees, or like, and I think like Ken
In
said,
terms of the
have it
financial
in writing,
support, right,
have it in
yeah,
writing,
absolutely.
right? And that way, there's no, different understandings.
Something new and different. In writing.
I agree.
Okay, moving on, employee manual.
Dun.
So look at, I just want to explain something from my perspective from the employee manual. I'm totally new to it. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know, I got it in my box yesterday. I didn't even look at it until this afternoon prior to coming to this. So I was just scanning through it. I said, this is great. I mean, I think it looks
a lot,
great,
though.
but I haven't looked through it, so I
Yeah.
don't have much to offer. The only thing I offered was what I sent to you. Oh, okay.
And Mickey,
Was that for any specific, well, you haven't looked through much of the policy?
So I was looking, those ideas came up on one of them, and then I realized on another one that there was some language that resembled that.
Yeah.
So it was more to getting, I was trying to focus on what's going on currently with our overnights. And the reality of that we're in a whole different situation with overnights. And we have to really be cognizant of that. And we have to kind of begin to put language in that reflects what we're expecting of overnights. In terms of how it's managed, but also in terms of what goes on during the overnights. And the part of it is the sexuality part of it, I think, is that although we don't want to think that anything like that may happen, but it could. And I think we should be ahead of it rather than behind it. So,
isn't this a town council or college center or both?
I would say, probably.
I don't know what the parameters are.
for what?
For telling people what they can, I mean.
Common sense says, if you're on duty, you can't be in a intimate relationship, right?
Yeah.
In the workplace.
I don't know what the law says.
In town property,
Yes,
yeah,
I don't know what the law says.
okay.
I assume, but with the labor laws being the way they are, it's a lot of times it's not things we can dictate, the language. The language
Gotcha.
is
Okay.
very particular and wording matters. And I think it's an important thing to bring up, and I just think Collins Center,
What's the Collins Center gonna do with it?
they drafted the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
We didn't write it up.
Oh,
They
I was
drafted the whole thing.
complimenting you guys.
Well,
Hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, we had the original thing, and we worked through all the policies,
Yeah,
and then we went to them, and then they came back, it's been like a.
Well, is it possible to run it by the Collins Center?
Absolutely, yeah, that's why.
I think that's what I said.
So I was concerned because I saw voting on it tonight, and I said, oh, I'm just behind, I'm
So
too
I
far
only
behind.
put voting because I get flack for this, and maybe I'll stop doing it.
You didn't say voting, you said.
What's that?
You said voting.
I say voting on a lot of things.
Oh, you said it yourself. I'm
No,
wondering if,
review, any comments and approve. Okay, so
I'm
I
wondering
will
if,
stop doing that because I was advised at one point that if you think there's a chance you may vote or may approve a contract, it's good to say
Mhm.
approve contract with
So it's
EDM.
clear. Yeah. So it's clear.
Because if you say we're gonna discuss the contract with EDM and you approve it,
Yeah, then.
some resident may say, I didn't know you were gonna approve it, I thought you were just talking about it. So with the employee handbook,
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
well, no, it's misleading. I had someone 2 or 3 weeks ago say, how are you gonna vote on the special town meeting warrant when there's no budget?
Oh,
And I said, I just put vote on it in case we do, and then we couldn't.
okay.
You can't ever really run into a legal problem saying you're going to make a final decision and not doing it, but it causes confusion.
yeah, I wonder if there's spots in here like under code of conduct.
Yeah, I'm wondering
and-
where that should go.
And sexual harassment or some of this stuff.
Well, but it's not harassment. I think
Yeah,
the concern is
if your
not
spouse comes to visit you and you,
Well, I
engage in a
think
little
the-
mutually consenting marital partner
The other-
activity.
Plus, if you're the only one on duty,
No,
you invite your spouse, I would think.
the other side of that is that we have
Special
female
friend.
and, we have female and male firefighters.
Right.
So
So there's also that.
there is that, and it's just to be ahead of it rather than,
No, I got you, and I think the question that Roger was also asking is where to put it. So that's
Yeah,
a-
that's, I'm just.
That's a good question, so I'll raise that
there
question
is,
with her both, how to phrase it and where to put
do
it.
you have, you have it on, it's on page 72, I think, is the the area that I was in when I was thinking of this.
Just 72.
Page 72.
It was 120, I went to print it, I said,
Very long.
push that button.
Endless.
Don't print it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't print it.
The performance performance improvement discipline policy.
Performance improvement, I can't imagine that that's where that belongs.
I think you were right on the first thing you said, though, the.
Code of
Code of
conduct.
conduct, yeah, I think it fits more in there. I had skipped that for some reason.
Well, 72 pages.
Oh,
You know, it's,
Should we get,
there is some value in bringing it up, because the issue is that even though people may, with their own, just because they have intentions of having a consensual relationship, doesn't necessarily mean that it will not become sexual harassment, which is very common in the workplace.
I don't even know what the rules should be, if there's a power imbalance, right, like a supervisor with
That's
a
usually where it
supervised. If even if it is consensual, maybe if we're allowed to ban it, we still wanna ban it because it creates problems. And I don't know what the laws are.
Honestly, my original concern wasn't even that the firefighters were having relationships with each other, but that they were having, I will call it, visitors.
And also, I don't even
Yes.
think we should single out that department, because it could happen during the day
Yes,
in
it
town hall.
I believe there's even a word used to describe someone doing said activities in their offices, so.
That does not happen.
Unreal.
No, I don't wanna,
Yes.
no, please, don't anyone walk away from this thinking that.
No.
I think it's worthwhile.
I think it's worth mentioning, I don't know what the law, I don't know what.
You can say you ban it, it doesn't mean it stops it.
Well, definitely not.
But a lot of employee manual is CYA,
Right.
and that's what we're trying to do.
but it looks good, the actual employee manual looks good, it looks like all the
It
all
looks
the areas
sharp.
covered.
They
It's
covered,
huge.
they covered more things than we even thought.
We'll see what Mickey thinks about it though. I don't know if Mickey
Oh.
shares your
Oh,
opinion.
there were a couple of things that, Mickey pointed out
see
that
my-
I agreed with.
We're looking at Mickey's letter now, or. some of
So
them,
the first one, and the bereavement leave one, I think is an easy fix, and, that one.
That was
sentence-
really just clarifying.
That one sentence really clarifies it, and I liked it.
Well, also adding in that it's available to full and part-time, because it didn't say that.
Right.
It just said employees, and if you don't say, it's not always understood.
Hang on, I'm trying to find your letter, because you remind me.
So it's just, you just need to find bereavement. Where's bereavement? Bereavement is under,
Oh crap, I forgot, hold on.
I thought it was its own standalone thing.
It is, bereavement leave is its own.
Oh, there it is, I found it.
It's,
There it is.
oh my God, you're paging through on that? Oh my God.
My laptop is John Shannon has my laptop right now.
And the document's so long in the PDF, it takes you forever to find anything. Bereavement leave's on page 37.
Oh, so you're suggesting that the first sentence be bereavement leave is available to all full and part-time employees?
Yep, and then,
I gave them a copy
this
to
last
yesterday.
sentence as well. Yeah, he's looking at it. He's trying to compare the two.
Oh.
But which sentence
This
is?
is the one that has red in it, but it's starting at it should
That
be
was-
red
that was
comes
just
beginning.
added.
That whole sentence is added on, which I think is a good.
That was added yesterday, the others was all done on the first. When I went to print it yesterday and found other things.
So, the other question that we were discussing that I think was of import is for part-time employees, paid time off. For full-time employees, there's a cap on the number of vacation days and carryover, and then there's a cap on the total number of sick days you can accumulate, which is 90. But you don't mention anything about a total cap of hours for paid time off for part-time employees. And maybe it will never come to pass that it's an issue, but we probably need to have parity there. I was very curious, because I think you're the only person I know that worked at a place that basically used paid time off. What was the policy there? Did it reset every year? Did you have
Wait,
it?
I'm the only person that
That I
you know
know.
that had paid time off.
And
The
PTO.
PTO
Was
way
combined?
done, yes.
We did have separate sick and vacation though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, sick was calculated differently than other paid time off, which included
Okay.
holidays. So the uniqueness there was holidays and vacation was all lumped together and
Okay.
all holidays were flex days.
Right, okay,
You could work any holiday that
Right,
you wanted to,
right,
but sick was separate, so
okay, so that
that,
was separate,
I don't know. And sick is different.
yeah. And
Um,
the second part of the question is also full-time employees, if they, when they leave, if they have unused vacation, it gets paid out, but unused sick doesn't, what do you do about that with PTO?
which is typical,
Right, it is
and
typical,
so when they're
but if
combined,
it's
what do you
combined,
do?
what do you do?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's a question for our council, cause I think you're owed any vacation time that you accumulate.
And
That's
so
my
do you call it
understanding.
all vacation time or sick? So, since our last conversation, and on my drive down here, which was 5 minutes, I thought of something and wrote it down when I got here, which you can't read. But I thought if we said that you could accumulate and carry forward 1 year, I still haven't checked with my boss on this. Accumulate and carry forward 1 year earned, but not used of paid time off. If you leave, you can take it with you when you go. If you've been here for 2 years, maybe, you know, somebody hasn't given us anything, they don't get extra money to take with them. So if they've been at least here for 2 years, they can take with them what they have left over, their carryover, and what they have earned in that year not used.
If they've, so if they've worked for the town for 2 or more years.
Right,
They can take with them whatever they've earned that year.
that year, and whatever leftover carryover that they had from, so if they carried
Right.
over 10 hours, they can take that and the 4 hours they've already earned this year, if they haven't used them.
I will say a couple things here. One is, at the end of the year, when we're in Harper's, looking at benefits accruals, it has to be simple enough that
Yeah.
we don't have to do calculus to figure out. And
That should not be difficult.
it's not necessarily,
are
but Mickey, what
programs you
happens
can-
when someone's schedule changes mid-year? Or they
But
pick up extra
they work-
shifts?
It goes on their payroll, and how many hours they work, it's based on how many hours they work. They get 1 hour of paid time off for every 20 hours that they work.
Yes, but if you're talking about carryovers and it's a,
So you carry over, you got this number, here, I've got 10 hours left from last year. And we're up a couple of months, I now have earned another 2 hours, so I've got, and I have to leave.
It's whoever's doing the payroll, it's just a tracking. It's a
But
tracking
that's just everything they have, it doesn't matter whether it's carryover or
It's,
not.
exactly.
Right, what they
If you can
have.
carry over from 1 year to the next, it just continues to accrue,
Right.
unless you put a cap on that, and then it accrues
Well-
till it hits the cap.
And then didn't we say that there somewhere too? That we thought that they would just be able to carry over 1 year's worth. So in other words, if,
So the
Last-
cap was the total of a year.
yeah, the
Or
last
yeah.
year, you know, you might have worked, you know, an average of 4 hours a week. But this year you've filled in a lot of time for when the director is off or whatever else happens, and you're filling in for somebody else who's off sick or whatever. And so you've worked, you know, maybe an average of 8 hours a week. So then your carryover time can change, especially in the library, because our hours get to be very flexible, but it's all in the payroll. I mean,
Yeah, it's all tracking.
It's all
It's just all
tracked
tracked.
already.
All
so-
based
So
on
I
how many hours
guess,
you
I
work,
guess,
which is required.
so I guess the question is, do we pay paid time out? That's really what the question is.
that's a question for town council.
Because whether someone's
Right.
rolling over 30 hours, that's the thing, someone could have worked for 5 years and have 30 hours of.
No, we're not letting them build up like you let the full-time sick
Well,
payers.
we're letting, right now, we're letting it build up to 50 hours for PTO.
That was just, and I said that wasn't fair.
Well, it's not fair because you're only allowed to roll over 40 if you're a full-time.
Yeah, but I also said it wasn't fair because that's what they can earn. Somebody who works 19 and a half hours a week
Yeah.
will earn almost 51 hours.
Yeah.
But somebody who works 4 hours a week will only earn 10.44.
Right.
So they shouldn't be able to carry over 50 hours if they've only earned 10.
What?
Well, then,
But- but-
then,
but- but-
but
but-
over 4 or 5
But if-
years,
but-
they.
but
they
after 4
earn
years,
50.
and they don't take any.
Yeah,
time
but
off.
are they carrying it
They got they got
for
40
more
hours.
years? For every year, do they keep carrying it over?
Yeah,
That's what it's saying.
that's.
That's what it says in full-time.
It says that for part-time too, up to 50 hours earned paid time off can be carried over to the following
So
fiscal
that's
year.
whether you work 4 hours or 10 hours.
So if you,
So, and
so,
in five, so if you work 5 hours, 5 years, you've earned 50 hours if you haven't.
yeah,
And you can keep carrying that.
Yep.
But the guy who works 19 and a half hours can
Mickey, don't
only
make it
carry over
difficult.
1 year's worth.
well, he can carry over 50, he can only carry the accrual from that 1 year. If they take no
Right, I'm sure.
PTO,
Yeah,
yes, yeah, and he ends up, that's
But
what.
it's the same, it's tracked on payroll. It's the same thing, it's tracked on
Yeah.
payroll. There's no difference.
I think if the person works, takes no vacation or sick time or PTO time and they get to the 50 hours, they're just rolling over 50 hours every year.
So now they'll be encouraged to actually take their vacation.
you're not gonna.
So,
The other questions have got to go to town council.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
typically you're entitled to your vacation, so if you leave any job and you have vacation accrued, they have to pay you those hours. I think that's the law.
I think the problem would be how to
I don't know
calculate
when they're
which are which.
combined. And like I said, at
There
Goose
must be a-
Farm, when I left,
They
I didn't get paid out sick time. I did get paid out vacation
But
slash
they were-
holiday, but
But they were tracking.
they were separated, so.
Did you say they have PTO at Newton?
No.
No,
they did not.
So.
do we know anyone that does?
Are you done with them?
Sick.
Maybe that's why they don't.
It's just too confusing, you can't do that.
So I'll also notify Lindsay.
Yeah, are there any other things from Mickey's letter to talk about before it's 7:30?
I think that was one.
Um,
Remember, this-
yeah.
Just a jogging memory.
I will say, I'll read this, because I sent Mickey's document to Donna specifically about the holidays.
Oh, we talked about that. What did she say?
So, I'll read this. As a matter of law and fact, the state does not default to recognize a legal holiday on the Friday before a holiday that falls on Saturday. State law only treats certain holidays that fall on Sunday as recognized on the following Monday. The legal holidays that fall on a Saturday are celebrated on the Saturday. If the town wants to be more generous and treat the Friday prior to a Saturday holiday as a legal holiday, it can do so, but is not required by law, GL Chapter 4, Section 7. Public offices, including the library, must be closed on legal holidays, GL Chapter General, whatever, 136. If the library is closed on Saturday, the legal holiday, but it is a town policy to treat the prior Friday as a holiday, which we do that based on what the state actually through the state, and the library remains open, the hourly wage earners must be paid time and a half. So
So
that's,
you don't have to.
The confusing thing to me
Well-
is it seemed like the beginning of that said that we didn't even have to call the Friday before a Saturday a
right, so,
holiday.
so we go by what the state says. So you go to,
But she's quoting state law.
I know, the state, if you go to the state's, the state website, they have this is what the state recognizes as holidays. And that's why the Friday before a Saturday holiday is up the day off.
Maybe they're more generous than
Then their law?
their law.
So that's, yeah,
It's like everyone has to pay the social security
I
except the
just,
government.
so.
I think it's silly to have to pay 2 people because you're closed on one day. You have to pay two different staffs. If your staff was 5 people, you'd have to pay 10 people, and half of them would be getting time and a half. That's just ludicrous.
So when you go to the Secretary of the Commonwealth, William Galvin, he says that they talk about this all the time, like, where is?
I never heard of default Fridays. Never.
Are there any Saturday holidays this year?
No.
The weekend holiday stuff is a mess.
I don't see any weekend holidays this year.
4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July is a Saturday. So I'd have to go
So means
find.
everybody's off on Friday.
Okay, so what I
don't
found
have to.
doesn't list the alternate holidays, it just lists the holiday day itself. You have something other than this?
Yeah, I found something other than that. I found that too.
Did we just-
Well, wait a minute, let's just stay with Susan's. That's
So,
good.
so if you
Let's
go,
not
if you
complicate
scroll down, I think if you scroll down on
If
that.
I scroll down that, okay.
Where'd mine go? Hold on.
No, it's one page.
So if you scroll down, it said, all holidays, 3, it's down in the bottom right-hand corner.
All holidays falling on Saturday must be observed on Monday under state law. Saturday holidays are observed on Saturday.
So,
Yeah.
but I've also
So that
seen,
means
but
it's a
I've,
Saturday
but I've
morning.
also seen where the Fridays are, I have to go find the one where find where it says.
I think it is very common what Roger is saying. It seems like we're not compelled by the law to
And
do it.
again, I,
How does that affect our whole program too of paying all employees for every single holiday? Even if it's on a Saturday and they work on Monday to Friday.
I mean, that's,
This is in
the
the
Sunday
weeds.
one has been,
This is in the weeds.
the
It
Sunday,
is in the way.
the Monday default for Sunday holidays has been in long term, but I've never heard of this Saturday thing.
It's common, it happens.
Why don't you
I
write,
can't find anything that says
I would,
you have to pay
I
for
would think you would write to Galvin's office. Seriously, and get clarity in writing back
Right.
on what we should do.
Well, we have clarity from town council that we don't need to recognize Saturday holidays on Friday.
Okay,
But we also have clarity for parity that we were gonna pay all employees
That's absolutely,
holidays.
no. If yours,
Nikki, it was a decision we made. So
that's,
it gets very complicated when we have irregular schedules.
it's not that complicated.
It gets very complicated, Mickey, because if you work Tuesday to Saturday, which I used to do, you miss a lot of Monday holidays.
But it's like, it's being punished for being willing to take an alternate
A
schedule
weekend day.
because it was needed by the organization, so that's not fair. I mean, it's not.
I think it's a great idea.
So-
let's-
But now we find they would get the Saturday holidays and maybe other people won't. You know what, we can't figure this out tonight.
So let's get whatever town council said, why don't we go with that? I mean, let's make a decision to do one.
But Ken, also what happens is typically, and this probably goes back to your time, on the Friday after Thanksgiving, we've offered that as a holiday.
You can offer an extra
Yeah,
holiday.
you can.
So
On a
why
special
not
day.
offer July 3rd as a holiday?
July
Well, you
4th is
could.
July 4th.
Yeah,
You could, but we don't.
well, we do.
Oh, okay, we do.
Oh,
Then we
Yeah,
do.
but
We're not
you're
required
only
to.
on here, you're not gonna offer it
Always
next
offered.
year.
It's not always offered, it's only offered if it falls on certain days.
On a Saturday, and we
Right.
typically have, from my understanding, offered Saturday holidays on Friday, and I think it's pretty reasonable,
So,
and
So what we do is in November, December, then December, we look at the calendar for the next year and we determine what holidays we're gonna offer, we send that out and then we're done.
no, it's
I mean,
really complicated.
No, how-
Alright, I think unfortunately you have to keep moving,
yeah,
because
because I
we
had,
can't approve
if
this
you read,
tonight.
I just wrote one that was, and your father told me to do this. He said, just write it for the library only, and that we don't recognize that the Saturday holidays are separated, are celebrated.
So we're gonna have departments to choose. We're gonna have departments make that policy. I love it.
Well, I read in the Eagle that working in municipal government is very glamorous, and a lot of people wanna do it.
Yeah, right.
You got it. You got it.
Couple of agenda items, I'm not sure if there's really much to do, again, they're on there in case, because we may need to do things in the coming weeks.
I do have the, special partial carry forwards.
Oh, really? So are we carrying forward all these?
I'm not, I haven't really,
Oh, these are just all the special articles,
those are just all. the
we
special
can
articles.
pick and choose,
So we
like
can
a
pick and choose the next time.
Chinese food menu.
If we can pick and choose, I just put them out, encumbrances were, still working through that, and I have to talk to the, finance committee.
MHC consultant, that we'll wanna carry forward. The open
I know, I
space,
said that, I followed up on that one.
What's
Believe-
MHC stand for?
the historical,
Oh, commission.
so that's just because we had a 4,000 for phase 1 and a 12,000 for phase 2.
Yeah.
The open space can disappear,
Yeah, I gotta follow up on that and why.
anything that's zeroed out will automatically disappear.
What did we use the open space grant for? Why is it disappearing? Because we didn't use it in time?
We didn't use it,
Okay.
I had to figure out what that's for.
It's pulled from another account, we didn't get the reimbursement. So that we have essentially paid the 3,000, it just didn't come from that account.
Okay.
There's a lot of fire department things, some of them dating back as far as 2022,
They were just
like
like,
fire hose replacement.
on
So
the
we
fire
should-
hose replacement, the reason why they haven't done a lot on that is because of the new fire truck.
So they're waiting to,
Yeah, my understanding is they would determine the fire hose based on the fire truck and the pressure and the size and everything on the fire truck determines the fire hose size.
that's some foresight.
So they should know that by now.
Not necessarily, I mean, it's 2022,
And I'm
we
not
initially
sure why we
allocated that money,
haven't
so I
ordered any
don't,
of
I,
it for
it's
now.
hard for me to believe that was the original purpose, but if that's the purpose now, then we can wait for 2 more years until we get delivery.
Yeah.
And let that money sit there, or, and I know part of what's going on is we took some options off of actually getting included within the contract to get it to a reasonable price, so maybe we do need that money.
I can ask, I can follow up on that.
I'm surprised that there's 60,000 left in capital improvements, because I thought more of that had been spent.
No, we only did that first 30,000, over the past, just over like last year, last calendar.
I remember those projects
Yeah.
being approved,
Yeah,
so
they
there's still
haven't
60
come
that
forward.
haven't even been put.
Apparently, I'm surprised that they haven't bought the turnout gear. And I know part of the reason, but not all of it. The part of the reason has to do with the change in PFAS stuff,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
and the ridiculous increase in the price, but I'm not sure of why they haven't bought any of it.
So what is the plan for this money?
Which money?
Are we gonna roll it over?
Which
Are we rolling
ones?
all the fire department stuff?
Is there any that wouldn't be rolled over? I think they'd probably all be rolled over, other than the nozzle. It looks like they bought the nozzle for the tip of the fire, the ladder,
Right.
and it looks like it costs $6,300, so we don't roll over the other 36.
I'll ask about that specific thing.
And then the fire hose replacement, I mean, it's been 4 years. Either we replace the fire hose, or we don't, or we hold out for 2 years, but it'd be good to know that's what we're holding out for.
Yep.
And the turnout gear's only a year, so.
The turnout gear is only from this past year. Moving on down, the school expenses, we saved that money to pay the electricity bill at that school.
Yep.
The
Only we knew what to do with
this-
the building.
storm damage, I
There was a
don't,
negative, I'll look at that.
I don't know how that got in the negative, but that thing, we agreed to not roll over last year, it never should have been rolled over, I don't know how it got rolled over.
Yeah, I'll have to go.
Some of
look.
that should be reclassed.
Yeah, I think that might be something for.
That
storm
was-
damage for this year.
So that goes back to 2022,
Was that what those?
and was very specifically about cleaning up down trees at Bidwell Park from a
Yeah.
huge
Oh,
storm.
yeah, that's right.
That money never should have been carried over, we agreed last year not to carry it over. Now
And
it's
here
still
it
on the
is
books, it's
again.
crazy. The 1-ton truck money is supposed to be divided up into
Yeah, that goes, isn't that in?
paying for the pavilion?
Yeah.
And maybe one other thing,
I'll go through that and look at that, cause that was. very
it got
specific.
reallocated.
It was another thing, what the heck was?
Cause
the
there is
other
a
thing?
community.
It's
center.
another ARPA project.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Yeah,
historical.
oh no, we used ARPA money, yeah, we used ARPA money to pay for the truck. We'll have to go back through and look and see.
And then it was,
Was it
we
historical
voted
or was
at,
it the lights at the community center? or-
no, it wasn't like the community center, it was, but we should find
I'll
town
go through.
meeting minutes. It may have just been for the pavilion, but that should be reallocated, and then the leftovers should be disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Cause that's right, cause we only set a certain, yeah, I'll go back through.
The plow truck, if we have it, the red one, that red International, and it's all outfit and everything, we should let that disappear.
Find out if there's anything left.
And the pavilion has 92,000, which is perfect. Although some of that, where the highway truck.
I'm gonna go look at that, because I think if you look at the, I think 60,000 of that was actually from the 1-ton truck.
Yeah.
And the outdoor lighting is now 0, but it's still showing up.
Because they actually just did that, because it was still there.
Okay.
It was,
Okay.
it was showing, and I think.
Because we had to transfer the money to the 92,000.
I think some of the
Right.
math on the, like the 1-ton truck, because the outdoor lighting still showed like $29,000 until like a week ago or so.
Yeah, and you made the transfer.
And I asked, it said 92 for the community center pavilion, it still said 29 for the outdoor lighting, so they zeroed that out, but I think there's some math on the 1-ton truck that needs to be taken care of, that 60 some odd thousand dollars that we were transferring from that. I'm going through right now to look at.
That's pretty good, that's better than I thought it'd be. That's pretty good.
It was,
Seriously,
yeah, before, I mean,
It was
remember last year, there was like
yeah,
so
better
much, there
than
was like,
last
it was like
year.
almost
the
twice.
one
as
thing
big.
I can't believe is that storm damage carried over because we totally,
Yeah.
it was about one particular storm.
I remember.
Didn't we spend that on something else? I thought we
We
did.
moved it, Mickey, to like pay some bills at a meeting because we thought that
I
made
think we did it
sense,
a couple of times, yeah.
but I don't
It
doubt
should be
it.
zeroed out by this
It's
point,
just-
we
yeah,
could- should-
from 22.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look because it rolled over and we probably tried to use it this year. Which is why there's a expended amount of $1,800.
Which was probably just for a random storm.
Yeah, and so I just have to figure out
Yeah,
what
since
what
it
it
didn't
is.
go away, it rolled over, we figured might as well
I
actually
think,
use it
I
for
think I was
storm
like, let's
damage.
just use it, and so it would.
But now they're not, now let's get rid of the 156 because that's.
Could we,
Okay.
could we use some of the town hall repairs and maintenance to wash the windows?
So is it town halls?
That'd be great.
Isn't that more of an operating budget,
I
right?
don't know.
Do we have a cleaning
Like the
service
first
again?
thing.
I was noticing
Where is that? Oh, yeah,
at the
town,
very
yeah.
top, and it shouldn't cost that much, I mean. it shouldn't
No,
cost
I actually have
that
to,
much.
yeah, well, I had to fix the reason why I haven't gotten it yet is because I had to fix the outdoor faucet. I had to get an outdoor faucet because there was no place to run like a hose like, to water, like that, to clean the windows and everything.
Okay,
So
okay.
there's I think I have to get that, I think I just got.
But can the cleaning service just do that? Do we have a cleaning service again?
No, we're still using Sheldon.
Well, he's good at washing windows.
I can't figure out, why do we move that loud?
Okay.
Okay, all right, moving on,
Yeah, there's a.
sorry, but that was good.
Okay.
So the administrative assistant is leaving last. I think we're at a little bit of a crossroads. That was our first person we ever hired for that particular position.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
That we have a clear, concise job description of what that person's gonna do.
so I think we could go different ways with it though, Ken. Because we could have someone that does the minutes and the admin work for a couple of boards, basically. Which is something that over the years, the town administrator has been responsible, or someone else. Or we could think, it's probably a little bit too early, think about maybe a higher level position, like, and I think it's probably just a year too early for like an assistant town administrator to train into a town administrator for succession planning. Or it could just be whatever admin work.
Interestingly, like I recently found out that Egremont hired their assistant, I guess they're not calling it a town administrator, but it's functionally, Mary is functionally the town administrator. She's already been there 2 years and Mary's not retiring for another year. I was surprised by that.
Mhm.
I thought that was a long time.
Meredith may decide to stay on a couple more years.
I don't know if it's also the budget, I think the budget that we're working with isn't at that level where we
No,
can find
now, for sure not.
that, but,
I was not suggesting it. I was just saying when I found that out, I was surprised.
I guess, do you want Roger to just review the job description and bring it back to us? Or do you want a bigger picture conversation? I think there's potential here for a bigger picture conversation about, this position, because we kind of did take one.
Mm.
I don't know if it was always the most efficient setup per se.
I think it is last round, I think moving forward, it would have to be more in-house. You know, it was a little, at specific times, because what I'm finding is that I'm finding that the need for someone to be sitting there all the time is really what's important.
Mhm.
And it was working a little too erratic in sort of out of office times and things like
How
that.
many
To get
hours
some
do we
work.
have, 10,
It's 14.
14?
It's like 3.5 hours a day. My plan is, that the plan was always like Tuesday through Friday, or no, Monday through Thursday, 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours a day. Like in the morning.
Mhm.
So, but we never really had anybody really apply for those hours.
So another thought is some town halls close on Friday.
Mhm.
I'm not saying we wanna do that, I'm just saying maybe it's worth thinking about.
It's a hard thing to do in the summer.
I would suggest Monday rather than
Or
Friday.
Monday.
Actually, Fridays are really hard in the summer because that's where, you know,
Everybody comes in.
a lot of people.
Well, you know
come
what,
out of
that's the
town.
thing, people come in.
They-
We've
they-
all been in the office, people come in, I don't know. I'm trying to picture myself, if like the kid is in the room next door, I'm like, I can't write emails, I can't do anything. The amount of people that come in and out is great, but it's kind of hard, I think, for a workplace. And I don't know if this person with these 14 hours should just be a first line of defense on people coming in. I think that's the way you're envisioning it.
That's why I'm envisioning it.
I see, it's a real issue, I think, for Roger.
He's interrupting
Because,
constantly.
because he needs to keep going back and forth, and I don't know how he keeps track of anything at all.
It's
And he
really
doesn't.
inefficient.
Where's my
He's
email?
constantly doing things
I
that-
don't. I
So,
don't.
I think that's what we should be talking about, rather than thinking about the long range future. Let's think about what we need right now for the short range to keep this functioning well.
Well, at one point, Roger's gonna work from home on Thursday afternoon or something?
Well, what I was actually going to do was essentially close the office.
Yes.
So I was gonna put the blast shield down and close the doors.
Yeah.
And, but that, you know, people just keep
Yeah.
coming.
So I'm just wondering.
I'm like trying to put the blast shield down and they're like.
I like the idea of the closing of the hall for, like on Monday. I mean, you know, close it. You would still come in and I would give you a chance to get all this work done.
Just leave the building
Yeah.
alone.
You know what? It's not gonna happen. I think too many people are used to town hall in Monterey being open 5 days a week. The town clerk isn't always here, which for 20 years has caused problems. No fault of any of the town clerk, but it just causes problems when some people are here and some people aren't, but that's the nature of different schedules.
Right.
We don't have 40 hours a week
Well,
of work for the
let's
town
do
clerk
this.
to do.
If we had a map of the schedules of people in town hall, I think you would see that Monday is the day that least amount of people are in. So-
Actually, I would agree that it's probably the one day that the fewest number of people walk in.
But what if instead of closing, this administrative assistant is the first line of defense for that entire day? And they do their admin work, they do bills, and they answer questions that people come in.
But then what you're doing there is then you're allowing the other 4 days to wreak havoc with them in terms of getting anything
Yeah, but
done.
I'm not sure that the 3.5 hours is like 4 times 3.5. First of all, it's gonna be having, you know, looking at how people look. There are people, there's always somebody somewhere that might be willing to do that. But the reality is, especially like
Hard.
people's lives, I think it's a small amount of time, 4 days. It's much more likely you're gonna find someone who's willing to put 2 full days in, or a day and a half in, or something that's contiguous, so they can organize the rest of their life, and their every day isn't broken up by it.
It was a struggle to find somebody.
Yeah.
It took a little while.
So maybe a day, yeah, okay, I can see that.
The other thing we can do is we can push it off, it's already pushed off a little bit into next year in all realities.
Yeah.
And do 15 hours a week. 5, 3 5s, 5 3s.
Yeah.
I'd say you're better off with 3 5s than 5 3s, you'll get more done in 5 hours on than 3 hours.
I'm just trying to think of, I think through no fault of the employee, the position, it was our first attempt at it. We had actually done some other things with a select board secretary. Do you think it's worth having this person try to do minutes for the select board instead of the town administrator, or no? It's really up to you.
That's a good question.
Because we had a select board secretary.
Yeah.
Could I suggest something?
Go ahead.
Why don't we have AI do the minutes?
Well, the AI does do the minutes. They do the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So
my minutes, but doing the select board,
That's easy.
yeah, doing the select board minutes isn't really that complicated
Yeah.
for me right now as it was when I
And we
first
should
started.
suggest that to the other committees and stuff.
Well, but, so there's only, the other two that had, because of historical reasons, become the responsibility of the town administrator, which kind of make no organizational sense
Oh,
other
I
than there was
didn't
history.
know that, I didn't know you were doing
Or-
that.
ZBA, no, Roger's not doing it for everybody, but ZBA and Board of Health. And there's no real reason why that happened, other than historical context.
But you use AI for that too, right?
I do, the ZBA is the most complicated out of all of them. It
Oh,
doesn't have
sure,
anything to
yeah.
do with the
Yeah,
minutes, it's just all of the dates and the times and, you know,
Paperwork's
the
intense.
paperwork is crazy.
And it has like a really sharp, it's
Yeah.
got like
Yeah.
a very designated timeline and everything has to be done.
You know, like,
So-
to your point, you know, all of a sudden you're working on something and the distraction happens, and the next thing you know, it's 4 days later.
So I'm wondering if,
What-
and there's a timeline and there's a
There's a
lawsuit
timeline,
coming.
yeah.
but I'm wondering if, when we re-envision this position, if those two boards are the direct responsibility of this
It's
position.
possible. The health, I don't, have I done the health? I can't remember the last time I actually did health. They've been doing their own minutes recently. I think I've done a few.
Of committee member or the?
We haven't really had a
Same.
meeting in a long time, so I can't even remember doing minutes. I think
Health
I
is
did
good in
minutes.
Monterey.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
so I think I did the minutes last.
That's gonna be a tough one though, Justin, because you're asking someone to do something that requires, I mean, for a 3 or 5 hour, 14 hours a week, and you're asking somebody to really be responsible.
Well,
In ZBA, so
I
are-
mean,
CBA is
15 hours a week is a respectable part-time job that you pair with another job.
But the responsibility of doing the minutes for the ZBA is at another little level in terms of what you're asking of that.
and I think they're actually sort of internalizing it themselves a little bit. the ZBA. And looking, because I've talked to John and Gary, we're talking more about doing
Yeah, I think
more
that
of
the
those,
decision was.
more of those minutes and things like that.
That, yeah, I suggested that we consider that maybe the secretary
Mhm.
do it,
So-
and John approached
See,
Gary, and Gary said he was willing.
see that? That's Plod. Plod does the minutes that's an AI.
Yeah.
It records it. It then gives me a summary, so you have a recording, a summary, and then it gives the minutes.
It's not just minutes, so Ken, though, it's administrative functions
It's
related to the
that.
ZBA, like
It's not the
receiving
minutes.
See,
paperwork.
but that's more, then they should have a separate situation.
It is and it's not. Someone who's working 15 hours a week, the right person could totally learn it.
Yeah.
As long as they were in enough days per week. Anyway, I guess that's the
Okay.
nitty gritty.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
bigger question is,
What
I
we
think when we hire for this position, we're in a different position than 2 or 3 years ago when we hired. I think maybe we set a schedule and we say, this is schedule in need. And if we don't find anyone right off the bat, we don't hire anyone.
And we just reconsider
And
what
we-
we want, yeah.
And we, whatever, but it's almost worth, to me, setting the schedule. These are the hours, period.
Yeah.
Because whenever we leave hours up to, I mean, some people are salaried and we leave the hours up to them and they do fine.
Yeah.
Cause it's kind of expected, it's a full-time job, but when we have part-time, choose your own hours, choose your own adventure, we're missing out on a lot of the benefit of that
Yeah.
employee.
So what Roger has to do is determine the hours.
Yeah.
And the question is whether it makes sense to you to have someone come in for a full day, which would make it easier to hire someone, or spread the hours over a week.
Or over X days, pick
Yeah,
a number.
Yeah, whatever.
If we waited through August or July, the end of July, we could probably just do 16 hours per,
To figure it out.
and just do 2 8-hour days, if that's the
Like
route
36
you
or
wanted
something
to
like that.
go.
I always hope that I get like someone who, dropped off their kids in the morning and, had time available. It didn't work. Yeah,
By the way, the Board of Health's last posted
When
minutes
was it?
are from 2023.
I'll have to go back. and see. Listen,
I-
but that's possible.
Could have been your last meeting though.
Well, I don't
You
know,
don't meet
they
very
had a
often.
meeting, on February 9th of 2026.
I'll have to go back and look and see what's there.
Of course, it's 3 meetings or, like, I don't know, 3 meetings or what.
3 meetings or 30 days, whichever comes later.
Yeah, so if they haven't had a meeting since then, they don't have to have them
I don't
posted,
know.
but I don't know where the one before
I
that
have to
was.
go look and see where all the minutes are.
So you're gonna come up with hours
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'll work on some of
And a job
and
description.
a job description, yeah. Very clear, concise job description.
I guess I don't really know how to go with this, because at one point it was gonna be a conglomeration of administrative functions for various boards, and then things have changed, but I think it's a good opportunity to set our expectations for what we need and what would benefit us,
Mhm.
and come from that starting point.
And I think it's definitely you set the hours,
Yep.
that we set the hours.
And I think with the advent of
I didn't
AI,
realize the
asking
hours.
boards to do their own minutes isn't that unreasonable.
No,
Monday to Friday,
I will do it.
9
Sure.
AM to 12 PM.
I
Go
can tell
with
you
the
that,
lunch.
like, they're
Go
not
with the
bad,
school.
but a person has
That's
to
what I
then
thought.
read them.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I
Who's
had.
there to make sure they're accurate.
Because
yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
I'm saying 4 or 5 days a week is kind of the ticket, because when someone isn't gonna be in for 6 days, 5 days, 4 days, you know who's doing that thing, that someone, you. If they're in 4 or 5 days a week, or even Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
At least it picks it up, it's not left for too long and go.
yeah. I would think that might be the route instead of full days, unless you could take Thursday and not have to deal with the barrage of employees and officials, staff, volunteers, and citizens, all well-meaning,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that prevent,
But interrupted.
interrupt.
Totally.
I just made it up
FedEx
for
guy,
today.
Yeah. I think some of it's my personality, you know, people come in and I wanna be like, hey, come on in, let's have a conversation.
Well, we want that.
That's
but-
what we
but-
want,
but it-
yeah.
But it works against you in terms of
Yes.
getting work done.
Yeah, no, we want that, and that's good, and I don't mean to disparage.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're there and the UPS guy comes, and then a department head, and then
Yeah.
someone wants a dump sticker.
A lot of dumpsters.
Lot.
And then your lunch has to be delivered.
My lunch gets delivered.
How about dump
That Uber
stickers at the
Eats
dump? Why not
Monterey.
have the guys at the dump selling dump stickers
I guess theoretically it's possible, they have to,
with checks or something? I mean, not
if
cash.
they can only do checks, I guess it's
Yeah,
possible.
something like that. That might take some of it.
It's almost 8:00.
I know.
Okay,
We're not getting through our.
so we have a couple of police department donations to accept from Robin Wilson and Alyssa Lovell.
Yeah, one for $100 from Robin Wilson to the police department, and one for $50 from Alyssa Lovell and Alison Perlow to the police department.
I will move that we accept these two very generous and thoughtful donations to
second
the
that.
police department.
Is there any way we can get it to the police department?
We'll call a vote on the
Yes.
motion. Yes. Ken, what's your vote?
Yes.
That's unanimous.
As long as
You're
it goes,
shaking your head no.
as long as
Say
it goes to the police department.
Okay,
It does.
the earth removal permit from Tryon Construction.
Don't lie.
This is for, this past year. I asked if they're gonna continue, and they're like, yep, they're gonna continue. I think they're just working at the bottom of their, the bottom of the pit there, the last I saw. The bottom of the hill.
They're doing a great job. Boy, oh boy, it's
Yeah,
it's quite
they've done
amazing.
they've done a good job on that hill. They've really done.
I'll move that we
Does
accept.
that mean like completely removed? What's good job on me?
No,
It's not that.
Did you go over and look at it?
Oh.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I want next winter, when it snows, I wanna start a toboggan run.
Get that, yeah. that's-
Absolutely, you'd go the whole length of the field, it would be
Yeah.
great.
Talk about
Liability.
liability and casualty.
It's go farm,
Yeah.
beyond that.
I'll move that we accept the, earth removal permit approved for Tryon Construction.
Second.
We'll call a vote.
Yes,
Yes, so that's unanimous approval. The approval.
The next item, I don't know if you want to
So,
deal with it right now, but we have, Frank was the representative to the BRTA.
do not
Advisory
look this
committee?
way,
I nominate
do
Ken.
not look this way. There is no way I'm doing that. Sorry. So we'll put it off to another day. Let's keep it
so
on the agenda.
we have the,
Definitely.
Nice try. I've
we,
been through this before, you know.
we have the appointment list as a whole, which we're not gonna make the appointments tonight, but I did, send out, for that.
I did print it out, because these are the people who are.
I think yellow is
Oh my God.
the ones
What's
that
the yellow?
we're making, the other ones
Or
are
what's
just
it have to be
existing.
done? Okay, what's the green?
They said yes,
Okay.
but some
Wait,
people,
what's the other green?
they said yes, blue means they were asked.
Okay.
No, it doesn't really matter whether they said yes, red just means they said no.
Wait, was it red? Oh,
There's
I
only
mean,
one.
But I don't really know if that was, I tried to follow up if it actually means no or. One small note, we're not gonna have a civil defense coordinator anymore because
sorry, I don't know why we have one. It's like,
Um,
you were like,
well,
seriously.
it's actually more and slightly more interesting. That position I looked up, what's it do?
What's it? Where is it?
So-
Oh, there it is, the one in bold.
It's actually just been renamed Emergency Management Director.
Uh,
And so if
That makes a lot more
if
sense.
NEMA or FEMA comes out, they need a
yes.
point person, it's usually the police chief or fire chief. And often the other one is the deputy or assistant. So we actually have that position, we've been double appointing for as long as I've been on the board. We don't need both a civil defense coordinator and a.
So so
Emergency
Peter's off the
management.
hook and we're dropping the civil defense.
We're dropping that. So, anyway,
Wait, we have to muster on the field.
I don't,
The civil defense gonna get us to muster.
And
Oh my
then-
God, to arms.
so renewable energy will stagger 3-year terms, and I think housing committee will do the same.
Yes, that's fine.
So, and if there's any other questions, ask them now, otherwise we'll just go ahead. I think everything's pretty straightforward. We've really ironed things out a lot more than they used to be in terms of ending on June 30th. Don Hutcher's term was gonna end on April 2nd of 2027. I asked him, can we just re-up you right now for 3 more years, and he's good with that,
Okay.
for Concom. So
So he'll go to the 2030, so
2029.
2029, 630, right?
Yeah, so we'll just start his term from July 1 of this year, just to get rid of these off-schedule weirdo things. Catherine Roberts will serve out the rest of her term until April, but she does not want to be reappointed, for instance.
Right.
Okay, good, we'll do it next week. But review it if you have any questions, comments.
Thank you for organizing that so completely.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to
You know,
delegate.
I've got to say, it's impressive the number of people that are involved in our board.
Isn't it?
You know, we talk about how hard it is, you know, and everything else.
But
and
there's a
really-
lot of people on that list, right?
I would suggest that maybe that when we get a new assistant, that the assistant do a mailing list of all these people and put it in some sort of form that it can be used to talk with them and send out stuff. Could I suggest something to not about this, but I ran into an interesting situation with the housing committee in terms of, seeking people that would be interested in being on it.
Yeah.
And in my talking to people, and I'm now trying to talk to younger people because that's really important.
Did you see the article in the?
Trying to break through.
Did you see? Oh, there's an article, was it Saturday?
Saturday's paper.
Yeah.
Saturday's paper about,
Oh, yeah,
a call for
about-
younger people to step up because
Well,
they're
then,
all being
so
what's actually in Berkshire County.
here's the thing.
Some of them highlighted were like someone's on this school board in, is it
Alfred,
Alford,
Yeah.
who's in his 80s?
Yeah.
There's they're trying to replace,
he's actively looking for younger people.
the town administrator in Sheffield and like.
Is she just continuing on, because I can't find her replacement?
She heard she wanted to retire in 2024.
Yeah.
She
I mean,
almost got elected over in Otis.
who did-
She almost got elected
Yeah,
in
Like,
Otis.
Otis.
That's right, she did, yeah,
She missed out by 3 votes.
yeah.
Was she trying to get
Yeah,
elected?
right in.
Oh, okay.
She called me to ask her how to do it.
But just talking about all of Berkshire County, especially South County, and that like people are aging out and younger people aren't stepping up. You are the exception.
So I've been talking to younger people,
Yeah,
a few.
like when you
And
say
one-
younger people, you mean like in their
So
sixties?
these are wise. My doctor says 60 is the new 80, or 80 is the new 60.
Okay,
Um,
I'm sort of feeling like the first one.
I've talked to a number of them, and in all the situations, now these are 3 individuals that have families in Monterey, and they have kids going to schools. I
Right,
mean, it's really interesting. I mean, these are the people we want to kind of get involved.
Right.
So I said, well, and I've been talking about being on the housing committee. And all of them said, yeah, I would love to be on the housing committee. When do you meet? And I said, we meet on every other Wednesday at 7:00. I said, can't do it. And I said, why? She said, well, that's bedtime for all the kids. I'm not gonna be awake during bedtime. He said, if you moved it up, if you moved it to a 5 to 7 or 5 to 8, we'd be interested. And two of the three said, yeah, that would work for me.
5.
5.
Okay,
it works.
that's news to me. I
Yeah,
never thought
really.
about it from that
They
point of
would
view.
rather miss the dinner time than they would the bedtime.
It's a thought. I will say, some people are home from work at 5.
Yeah, I know, that was my first thought, but maybe they're working from home or
Yeah.
something.
But it could be 6 o'clock, it could be 6 to 8 or
So it
something.
was just
So it's
interesting
in
because-
between that 5 to 8 period.
Because it wasn't something that I had thought about, at all, in terms of how to get people on, and it was just interesting that we have to start thinking about how best to develop these.
Exactly. But it's an interesting thing too, because like, I think it used to be that dinner time was, in my
critical,
family,
yeah.
we had dinner
Yeah,
every single night.
that's what I said.
Pretty much, I think once a week, my father played tennis,
Yeah.
and my mother and I got to be a girls' night, it was a big deal. But like, and I did that with my kid, but now, like,
No,
I look around, almost nobody does it. They're all, oh, this one has sports, and this one, like, nobody does it now. So maybe this is the new time that they actually get to spend quiet time with their kid and talk to them, like.
So it's just a thought. I didn't, I'm
I
sorry.
love
didn't
family
interrupt you.
dinner, I still like it.
Keep
Listen,
going.
Paris, little bit on for this.
Let's,
Okay, I think we're gonna
Okay.
really abridge the rest of the meeting, and I think we have to meet next week.
Okay. Do we have
Sorry,
any
sorry, I'm very sorry.
important updates?
By abridge, I meant, are there pressing town administrator updates? I didn't mean we're done.
No, not pressing.
Okay.
No, not pressing.
Isn't that what a bridge means?
No, a bridge means
Shorten.
shorten, yes, but, yes,
Not
it
adjourn.
does, adjourn,
Yeah,
right,
I was
bridge.
trying to say a
Yeah,
bridge.
you know, a bridge is right.
Are there any pressing unanticipated
I
businesses?
have one thing.
Yeah.
the housing committee, in taking back the advice of, or the proposal we put forward to the select board in terms of the ad going in for membership in the trust.
Right,
The housing committee would like to have 5 members of the housing committee on it rather than what was proposed.
which was what, 4?
4 plus select board. They would like 5 plus the select board because they feel that they really want to maintain some control of the whole thing.
And that would
any
leave
questions?
3 outside
And that
members
would
or
leave
1
three
outside, 3 outside,
three
because there's
outside.
9.
No, but you said 5 members of the housing committee plus the select board, that's 6.
Right, and it's a
And then
total
there's
of
Oh,
two
there's
nine.
3, there's
Yeah,
9,
the
right,
trust
you said
is
9,
nine.
okay, yeah.
I mean,
Do you have any serious
That's
questions?
fine if you get a lot of good, great applicants, and the housing committee is more committed to keeping its membership.
Yeah.
That would be weird to me. But I guess it depends on what kind of applications roll in, or interest rolls in.
Yeah, I personally have mixed feelings on it. I think,
I mean-
I would like to see it at 4 and 4 plus the select board. And then you're able to get 4 new people on. And
it's
I
a way of
think-
getting other
For
people.
me, the critical thing is getting people involved.
I also, I know I said it a million times, but I'll say it again. I think it would be so great to have someone who doesn't live in Monterey, but has career experience in the local area,
Mhm.
like Great Barrington.
We could talk to
Yeah.
them.
I think it would be so good.
Okay,
As much as it's great, we have, what's that?
yeah.
They have a housing trust.
Yeah.
After.
So that's my only 2 cents.
They have a housing trust rather than a housing committee. See, we started the housing committee and then it moved to a
Right,
housing
right.
trust. They started with a housing trust and never moved to a housing committee. They used the trust and stuff. Okay,
So
I'll
we-
bring those stuff back. And we're gonna try to get something in the Monterey News, hopefully next month, for the next one. Right?
I only have one thing, which is that we still are missing minutes from April.
Yeah,
No, I just got those minutes from, Frank, I'm working on them.
Okay.
They'll be mailed out this week.
Okay, cool.
those ones we only discovered at last week's meeting, or last
Oh.
meeting. So we're gonna meet next week.
Sounds good.
Did you wanna go over the minutes, this,
1 second, Mike. No, I don't think so, unless anyone's really compelled. I really try to stick to the 2 hours and
Yeah,
way over.
I agree.
So if we meet the 23rd, I suppose we'll meet the 7th.
We're gonna skip the 30th then?
And Roger, we have to be on our game with posting the agenda, you and me, me drafting it and you posting it, because it's Juneteenth. So,
26th.
if I haven't sent a draft agenda by Thursday,
It has to be out by Thursday.
remind me.
Juneteenth is the 19th, right? Okay. not the
Yeah, Mickey Jervis.
Two things, I'll do make them quick. You mentioned, and when Peter was here, that you, the select board could spend money on the firehouse, but they don't, the fire company owns it, not the town.
Correct, but we have spent money and we continue to spend money and we have $60,000 available to spend money on it, capital improvements. You know that,
Okay,
right? It's been discussed extensively at select board meetings over the last several years.
yeah, but it sounded like it was something new, like you were gonna spend money on.
It was
Yeah,
only
that's-
new because the state, it's the grant he's trying to get. There was a question about the ownership of the firehouse.
And they know, so if
They understand that we don't
green
actually own it.
communities,
Yes, I do.
before I got on the board, 10 years ago or something, the town did 90% of everything to become a green community and got hung up in part because the fire station couldn't be considered a municipal building.
Because we don't have enough municipal buildings, you have to get a certain percentage reduction in your energy use to qualify. But we had so few buildings
That you couldn't do
that
it.
we couldn't do it, there was just no way to get enough reduction, but getting that one building
We'll do it.
probably would have tipped us
It's a
over, yeah.
linchpin of the whole project, and so it's an important part of it. But they're saying, does the town actually ever spend money on the building? Because otherwise, we're not gonna count a nonprofit owned building that the town's not involved with.
There is
But they'll
no-
count it and the fire companies are right with that.
Yeah.
My other one is, at the special town meeting, is the superintendent or somebody from the school gonna be there? So that we can get answers to how they lost $2.5 million and how they found it. You lose that kind of money to places like
It was
that.
in a file
and-
cabinet that they didn't realize. They hadn't used the file cabinet in a long time.
It's an excellent question, Nikki, I did write them.
And what will be done with it?
I
mean,
did write him
it'd be
like
nice.
10 days ago, I have not heard, asking him to attend and explaining why we wanted him to. He did not respond, although he had been very responsive previously. I wrote another missive today to say, well, I didn't hear from you and I just wanted you to know that we're still hoping that that you will be there. And I said why we thought it was important and, that we wanted it clarified what was going to happen to the academic program, because as far as I know, there's still crickets.
Do you copy our school rep?
I did not, but I
I
could.
think you should. Yeah, just be nice to have a school rep that reps us, so. So.
It would be nice
That's
to have something from the school and what the heck the budget actually means.
yeah.
And never mind how they managed to, well, they didn't, in fairness, they didn't misplace the money. The money wasn't in the budgets. And cause it's not just him, right? He hired a company that does this, and the guy actually said in a public meeting, if I'd known what was gonna be involved, I wouldn't have taken the job. Which tells you right there, if this is his profession and he's been doing it for years, it must have been
A mess.
a mess. So I don't think that this can fairly be laid, I don't think that the mess can be laid at Rick's feet. I think the way it was handled maybe can, and the question
No,
is the fact
I'm
that
not
we don't
blaming
know.
anybody particularly, just though it was.
Right, but at the end of the day, we still don't know what the budget means for the academic program, or what they even found.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
We'll call a vote,
yes.
yes, Ken,
Yes.
unanimous vote to adjourn,
Let's get out of here.
at 8:15 PM. And we're